Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Following a critically acclaimed, sold-out run in London, David Hare's Skylight has come to Broadway's Golden Theatre. Under the direction of Stephen Daldry, it stars Carey Mulligan, Bill Nighy, and Matthew Beard. And we are here on opening night to celebrate with the company.
Frank isn't people. Frank is a man who's doing a job. You were always salving your own bloody conscience. These stupid gestures, nothing to do with what people might want. They want to be treated, respected like adults for the job they are paid for, not looked down on as if they were chronically disabled, as if they somehow needed help all the time. I mean, yes, this was the whole trouble with business and you. You looked down always on the way we did things, on the way things are done. You could never accept the nature of business. I mean, finally, that's why you had to leave.
Well, I must say, I never knew that was the reason.
All right, I'm sorry.
I never knew that was why I had to leave.
I put it badly.
Badly? You did. I thought I left because your wife discovered I'd been sleeping with you for over 6 years.
I mean, well, yes, that as well. That played a part.
Congratulations, it's opening night with Skylight on Broadway. How do you feel tonight?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
That they did it incredibly well. And, it's extraordinary. Stephen Daldry gave them a note to say that the three of them, Matthew Beard, Bill Nighy, Carey Mulligan, should do it entirely for themselves and ignore the audience on every occasion. And they do that, and that's why the production has such integrity, I think.
Working with Stephen Daldry again, you have quite a history. Tell me what it's like collaborating with him as playwright and director.
It's fine when he's there, but he spends a lot of time commuting, and so it's completely. He does in 3 days what most directors do in 7, and better than anyone else. I mean, he's one of the best directors in the world. It is very, very hard to get his attention because he's always off doing something else.
What makes him such a great director? Because I know he's directed you personally and directed your plays.
I think that he really understands the way in which theatre is behaviour. And so, whereas with most directors you'll hear these abstract notes where they say, well, it's about this and it's about that and it's about the ideas, Stephen always roots it in human behaviour and in counterintuitive human behaviour. So this play, which is naturalistic and which has so much business in it, he's just better than you could dream, integrated the naturalistic action with what's going on with the ideas. And as he says, he only understands human behavior. That's what he's the master of.
Yeah. So beautifully cast. This is a perfect cast. I mean, working with Bill again, just talk about what it's like watching him say your words.
Well, I'm so used to it that, we've worked together 10 times now. This is our 10th collaboration. And I was the first person in 1979 ever to cast him as a leading man. And so we've lived all our lives together in that way. But I find him in this, I think this is one of the greatest things he's ever done for me. And I don't see him, every time he surprises me by how much more he wants to give to it. And so that's a great thing for a writer.
And then, of course, Carey is so brilliant in this. Talk about what it's been like working with Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan, well, she's from Mars, isn't she? I mean, I don't know where she comes from. I can't imagine who invented Carey Mulligan, and I can't imagine by what process she arrives at who she is. But she has the highest standards of any actor that I've ever worked with. She expects everybody else to work to those standards. There's a quiet, steely strength to Carey that is magnificent, and I should be so lucky, really.
Congratulations. It's your Broadway debut.
Yes.
I asked you when I met you at the meet and greet. Tell me what today was like for you leading up to tonight. What did you do today?
I woke up as late as I possibly could, and I went for a very calming brunch and pretended that none of this was happening. and I'm in good company for that. Bill and Carey are both very good at just sort of talking about other things, and we all talked about other things. But of course you can't avoid it. Everyone, there's an atmosphere backstage and energy. Everyone's giving gifts and things. So. But it's part of the fun, and it's part of the Broadway experience, and not something I'd want to miss. So I've just tried to enjoy it and not get too worried about the event itself, the play. Now I'm looking forward to. I'm just so happy we've opened, and now we can just get going with the run.
Tell me what it's been like working on this play. First, of course, in the West End, and now here for Broadway.
It's been incredible. It has been life-changing. I've never done a play before, and for my first play to be a production like this, and to be a production which has been on in venues as it has been the West End, Broadway, you know, I've sort of gone through the tick list quite quickly, the to-do list of theatre. So in that sense, it's been incredible, but also I've just been trying to sort of hold on and keep up and not let it run away from me. So, but as a learning experience, it's been fantastic being with these people: David Hare, Stephen Daldry, Carey, Bill. You know, it's quite a team to be a part of.
And I thought, right, this is it. I realised then I have to go one step further. I have to really give myself to the children. I have to really let them know who I am. That's when they respect you. Now, no problems with discipline, none. And I have to say, my grades are amazing. I took on the job and I bloody well did it.
I see. Well, it sounds like a challenge.
I've seen the way things are now in this country. I think for 30 years I lived in a dream. I don't mean that unkindly. Everything you gave me I treasured, but the fact is you go out now, you open your eyes and you see this country as it really is.
It's been a great night. I mean, we've had a couple of weeks of previews and we've done this in London, so, the build-up's been there again, but I think, we had a great show and the audience were really great, and I'm just relieved that all the pressure's off now.
We talked very early on in the rehearsal process for New York. What has it been like doing the show in New York now for a New York audience?
It's been great. It's been different. It's definitely it's a different response than London, obviously, because it's an American audience largely, and so you feel that. But that's kind of interesting. It's kind of kept us on our toes, because I think you can fall into a way of doing a show when you understand where the audience is going to react, and that gives you a sort of certain pattern. But when that changes, it's sort of quite exciting.
This is such a timeless play. I saw it originally when it came here. It resonates just as well today as it did then. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think, I was a teenager when it was first written, but I understand the politics is still really relevant. I mean, actually, in some cases more so than it was then, in terms of talking about money and banking and all of that stuff seems to really resonate in New York. And then also, it's just a universal play. It's about things that everybody understands. It's about love and grief and loss, and I think that's always going to connect with audiences.
In David's words, what a beautiful writer he is.
He is an amazing writer. It's such a joy to get to say his words. And one of my favourite things about the character is that, and these two characters, is that they argue in the way that you wish you could argue. He writes the argument that you wish you could, in the moment, just come up with, and of course you can't, and then afterwards you think, I wish I said that, and that's what David writes, and that's so much fun to do.
And working with Bill and sparring with him nightly.
Working with Bill, it is like sparring, it really is. It feels like we go out there, and in the interval we would say, right, let's go out and have a really good fight, and we feel like we're going to go out and just kind of throw things and break stuff, and that's so much fun. It's different every night, it's never the same, and that's so exciting.
Welcome back to Broadway with us. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good right at this minute. I feel pretty good. I think we did a really good job tonight. I think the previews have gone very well. We've done 21 previews, so 22 shows. The audiences, there was, we had some misgivings. Maybe it was a very British play, and that the American audience, those kind of concerns, none of which turned out to be the case. They've been laughing in all the right places. They get all the same things as everybody else got, and there seems to be no confusion in that way. And the play, the play is just a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful, powerful, funny, entertaining, resonant, important play, and it just lands. And if you behave yourself and do it as well as you possibly can, you just deliver it. It just works in a very powerful way, as you've noticed, as you've seen, and I'm very grateful that that's the case. Obviously, it's nice to get tonight over with, because there's always a degree of pressure, and right this minute I feel okay. I feel like we did all right, and I don't often feel that, because I'm not famous for thinking positively about things, including myself. But I do actually feel pretty. I think we did Carey was magnificent. Carey Mulligan was magnificent tonight. I was thrilled that the audience responded so well to her, and that they clapped her major speech in the second act, which is a beautiful thing, to have that kind of response. And and David, I know, is happy, so I'm cool.
And then you're working with Matthew Beard, who's making his Broadway debut.
Yeah, I know. Matthew Beard, remember the name. I'm not being cute. He's a wonderful young actor. He's so talented and gifted, and I'm proud to and he's also a cheeky little sod because he does a sort of impersonation of me, which he's been directed to do because he's my son and I am playing his father, but he does it very wittily, and he's a wonderful, also just a deeply charming man, and I'm very pleased to see, because he's so excited to be in New York. He's done every New York thing you can possibly do, he's eaten every New York thing you can eat. He's been on every New York subway. He's done everything, and he's he's such a sweet boy, and he's in the other room, so I should probably shut up in case he hears me.
This is an electrifying production, led, of course, by Stephen Daldry.
Yeah.
What's it been like working with Stephen again?
I cannot overstate how brilliant and wonderful it is to work with Stephen Daldry. I'd known him on a personal level. I'd never worked with him before. I was aware of how brilliant he was because of things I've seen, obviously. But to work with him closely on a part like this in a major play was absolutely one of the great pleasures of my professional life. He's a gorgeous human being, and he's an absolutely lethally brilliant director. He's gone straight in at, kind of top 5, if not number 1. Sorry, I'm just being kind to others. But he's just a completely, and he thinks in a way that I've not met anyone who thinks quite in the way that he does. And he directs in a way, not the method of directing, but just the ideas. And he gives you big presents. He gives you big gifts, really. Not just practical information or practical advice, but just big, socking great ideas, either comic or otherwise, about, the human experience. He's an artist, and I can't, as you've spotted, I'm crazy about him.
Then there's the man himself, David Hare.
Yeah, I mean, David Hare is a great man. It's strange when your friend, you realize as the years go by that your friend is a great man. It's not, I have some very good friends, but, as a public figure and as a writer, as an artist, he's one of the most important people currently working. And the fact that I've worked with him many times over the years it's an association that I obviously treasure. I admire him as much as I admire anyone on earth, and I think he's a wonderful man who just keeps producing the most exceptional, beautiful things. And he also writes the best jokes in town, and they're built like clocks. And if you deliver them right, and if you observe all the punctuation, they go off like soft bombs. And delivering them has been one of the great pleasures of my life.
Finally, when you took your bow tonight, do you remember what you were thinking?
I was thinking, don't get the call wrong, the curtain call wrong. I keep getting the curtain call wrong, and then I had a big bunch of flowers for Carey, which I had to remember to try and go there. I was just thinking, I was feeling very, very relieved. I mean, there's a degree of pressure, obviously, opening a play on Broadway. There's nothing quite like it, and therefore. We've done 21 previews, and this is our 22nd show. And it's that whole period is, it's very, very uncertain. And the opening night itself, you've got all kinds of people there, and people that you love, and people, and it's an important event, and you want to deliver it as best you can. And I did feel, I felt that we did a pretty good job. I felt, and I don't often feel that, but I did tonight. I thought if you have a problem with that, it'll have to remain your problem.
Tom, I have to tell you, this place is really quite reasonable.
Oh, really?
As it happens, I get it at a very cheap rent.
I should hope.
No, it's you, Tom. The fact is you've lost all sense of reality. This place isn't special. It's not. It's not specially horrible. For God's sake, this is how everyone lives.
Oh, please, let's be
No,
serious.
I mean it.
Really, honestly.
No, this is interesting. This is at the heart of it. It wasn't until I left your restaurants, those carpaccio and ricotta stuffed restaurants of yours, it wasn't until I deserted that Chelsea milieu.
Which, in my memory, you liked pretty well.
I do like it. Yes, that's not something I'd ever deny, but it wasn't until I got out of your limousines till I left that warm bubble of money and good taste in which you exist.
Thank you.
But I remembered that most people live in a way which is altogether different.
Well, of course.
And you have no right to look down on that life.
You're right.
Thank you.
Of course, that's right. However, in one thing, you're different. I do have to say, Akira, in one thing, you're different from everyone else in this part of town.
How is that?
You're the only person who's fought so hard to get into it when everyone else is desperate to get out.